First time we'll see Scalebearer on Tempest Shrine today, provided they stick with their guns and go with the Scalebearer, like it looks like they will absolutely decide to do. So I'm actually really excited to see how Scalebearer takes to this map, because in theory, I can imagine him being really good, especially if you're trying to like get from one obelisk to another using that sort of that tight corridor, which is usually a bit of a bloodbath, as it were. I think that's the discussion that we had earlier today, and I'm actually quite excited to see the fact that we're so close to witnessing it in practice, where theoretically some of the problems that players were having in this map in particular was Obelisk, I believe Obelisk B, the one near heavy armor, which is seen to be by a lot of players the sort of the easier one to defend, because we have seen in tournament there is a much higher success rate on that Obelisk. If they get the Obelisk, that tends to be the one that causes the win. Players clearly have a hard time getting it away from that Obelisk and back to their own, but it is because of those kind of like death corridors that seems quite easy to head people off, especially seeing as a champion like Sorlag is so popular, all those champions that have like area denial about them, and be it even without that, you know, Gauntlet, Shotgun, Rocket, all very popular in those locations. Now Scalebearer kind of having the chance to essentially power through all of that. Theoretically, he's one of the champions that may have an easier time dealing with that. But I say just theoretically, I think we're moments away from seeing if that is in fact going to be the case. But I think regardless, it's going to be an interesting result no matter what. Yeah, I mean, like we've said before, this is the first time we're seeing Scalebearer on Tempest Shrine. So I hope it goes well. I hope we see some interesting stuff that we haven't seen in the last couple of weeks. You know, like we keep saying, this is the new balance patch of the game. So this is the highest scope being the first weekend of competitive action, like at least on this scale, since the patch happened. So I think there's a lot to see, you know, a lot to assume. But going in, I know that TKG obviously went into losers finals from winners finals, so they got further in the winners bracket first. But Netmasters did just have one of the most one-sided sets we've seen all day. So I think both players, or both teams, I should say, are going into this with their own level of momentum. It's just going to be a question of who can do it better now. We have officially started the match. Well, it begins. We're going to see in a few seconds when the soul's going to appear, and just once more of this map, very interesting with that sort of soul reset mechanic where it just takes such a longer, has previously taken a long time. Actually, I haven't confirmed what that might have been. Wow. Oh! Wow! Beautifully played by Guitar Ration. A nice triple with a rocket launcher to start things off and get the soul, but Pokelink, because he actually, for the first time, we see a team seek out Obelisk A on this map. Obelisk B has by far been the most desired Obelisk every time we've seen this, but at the moment, Pokelink going straight for A, literally detouring purposely to go for it. Do you think it was because it was the closest at the time, or do you think they actually much prefer this? Well, there are many variables. I mean, they're just, Guitar Ration has just taken a bunch of kills there, so it's likely to predict that the spawns could have come through the left-hand side, which made it way easier for Pokelink to sort of unchallenged go through, and I just love that, the sort of stack keeping him alive for a little bit. Can't keep him alive to get the triple, though, unfortunately. And it kind of wasted a lot of time. Light Tech was able to kind of just swoop in, and Guitar Ration lying in wait. With a Gauntlet, I mean, you can't react to that one. You go around the corner and you are dead if he's standing there. That was a good prediction, and he was there. And that's going to be another secure 20% already. Just over a minute in, and they still have quad damage. Just wore off, but they got quite a lot of frags out of it beforehand, so not going to be too unhappy with that. Oh, goodbye. Yep. Pokelink. And we got Light Tech into Putty. We had the best seat in the house to watch that one. Although, yeah, Guitar Ration forced to run away here, try and get the injection out safely, but has got a rocket launcher, so it's going to be quite hard for Netmasters to seize this back without taking some kind of damage. I feel like Anarchy is always going to be less prone to getting taken out while he's in the middle of that injection pop. You know, if he's got teammates near him on Sacrifice, then he's not going to be that prime target. Kicks tries to get a bit of damage, maybe takes a couple of people with him, but unfortunately he is unable to do so. Pokelink, before he goes down, passes it over, but unfortunately actually passes it into the hand of the enemy. But Raphael, I mean, he's not very healthy, is he? I don't think he's going to be able to make this one back without some help. So you wonder what he's waiting on, though, because he is very much by himself. Still, like you said, very weak. It's going to be quite difficult taking the longer route back to B, but they're already ready and waiting, and Legend gets a nice rail straight away. Oh, Guitar Ration just flying in there. But he's been able to drop it off him good. That's very fantastic for him there. Seems they already have a fantastic lead there. Oof. And Raphael again stuck. Raphael really has been favouring the Gauntlet almost every time we see him. Sometimes I don't know if that's going to work in that situation. Sometimes it's kind of hard to see why. Like in situations like that, where do you think he just didn't have any other weapons and he just ran straight there from spawn? Maybe. I mean, fresh off respawn, sometimes you feel like if maybe the Gauntlet just kind of gives you that best chance for damage. But here comes the power up. It's going to be protection. Oh, Kicks gets it. That's going to be huge, but very low he is and dies immediately. Guitar Ration able to seize it away. But the protection, Netmasters was able to get it, and it's going to go to Alazan, who obviously on Sorlag is going to be very tanky. But this entire time, TKG were able to hold onto the soul, and they're just climbing up percentage while this protection just loses its time. And Netmasters, they have been able to take it, but that's not without TKG getting a bunch of percentage first, and did waste a bit of time in hot pursuit. Has to try and head them off, but you kind of just see TKG, they're kind of circling in towards B now. They're going to have that sort of defense ready to go, and with the power-up running out, as it did, Pokerlink's going to seize complete opportunity there and just take the charge when he knows it's guaranteed. But Rafał finds himself with the soul again. Get a safe drop off, almost trying to fight him. Oh, able to win that, or thought maybe was almost going to lose that 2v1. Still stuck here with only a railgun. That's going to be it. Guitaration tries to rocket jump away to safety, but too much damage had been taken, and it's just going to be a suicide instead. Like sometimes in Sacrifice, it's the pace of the game is so fast. You don't really have a lot of time to calculate the damage that you're going to take, right? You just kind of have to dedicate something. If you're taking damage at the time, so be it. Accidents do happen when you're under pressure and surrounded by enemies. Yes, indeed, but Legend here trying to get away, but Netmasters and Rafał just running around with his gauntlet again, trying to get some frags, but dies for it straight away, and that's going to be a seized soul for TKG. We can see they are actually quite low themselves. I fight Guitaration, he's been so dominant in both game modes, but in Sacrifice looking to be just as strong. You know, there are certain moments where he's getting a bunch of, oh, and there's the dodge. But again, you know, Rafał had the gauntlet out again. Rafał just does not have the weapon to chase anyone down, and if the gauntlet misses, they literally just run past him with ease. Rafał, I think he's just putting way too much emphasis on the gauntlet. I mean, sometimes if the gauntlet misses, you may as well not be there, right? If in situations like that where Guitaration just brisked past him, and it was effortless. But what input was there? It's kind of hard to tell. It's going in for the power up. The cluster. It's taking a bit too much damage there, because it's going to be quad damage. You're going to be not reducing damage you take. So if you're sitting in that plasma trail, you're only really going to survive for so long. That was a very important rail to not connect to allow Rafał to stay alive temporarily, keeping that quad damage. You see that a lot of TKG are here. Oh, but no, gets ambushed. Pokelink with a nail gun from behind. He's able to take. Yeah, actually didn't pick up the quad damage himself. It's going to be Kix that has it. Oh no, he misses the shot. That's unfortunate. Oh, missing another one too and dies for it. Guitaration out 1v1ing Scalebearer with quad damage. He has it himself. That was a highly impressive 1v1 to win. And it just sort of caused a lot of disruption there. But it hasn't prevented Netmasters from being able to climb. They're still doing well. Legend goes down as well. Some key frags coming through. Netmasters were ridiculously dominant in the series we just watched. They're being a lot more challenged here, but I feel like now they've got a solid defense. And the power-up's down for quite a while. They're doing a good job of taking it to them. But it also goes back to what we said before, right? Obelisk B being favored because it's an easier one to defend. That's what we've been told. That's what players think. And it's kind of showing right now. Netmasters having a much easier time defending that than so far TKG have had theirs. But the thing is, TKG, I think they had such a good start that it almost doesn't matter now. By the way, again, Zurich says thank you very much for all the buffs. All the nerfs, I guess, is a more accurate term there. If it was a 10 damage tick, he would have gone down and had no chance to defend. Hopefully here with their LG and a bull rush ready to go. Trying to hold on to the Obelisk as long as they can. Now they're approaching the 5% away from taking the first round. And they have no choice. They have to pile in here to try and get the soul back. But one by one, they are going down. And Guitaration gets a frag. 1% left to go. And that's going to be it. Round number 1 is on the table. I think it's good that they were able to defend from an Obelisk that, as you said, is seen to be a little bit trickier in many cases, but I think the fact that they were able to sort of dedicate straight to the Obelisk first, and they did a fantastic job of holding it. There's no getting away from that, but that's going to send a message to Netmasters where now if they're able to get an Obelisk that is seen to be a little bit easier to defend, if it just kind of puts themselves in a situation where it's possible to take B instead of A, it might be a little bit more difficult for Netmasters to come back. They did like TKG, they purposefully sought out Obelisk A though last time. I think that was a bit more situational in that one circumstance. Could have been. I guess we'll see soon as a few seconds away from getting the soul up. It's going to be a 2-for-2 trade, so only 2 members left alive on each team. Pokelink tries again, but he's a little bit weaker. Kicks with the pickup. I mean, with 3 HP, I don't really think he's going to be able to go anywhere with that. Oh, that's knocked off the edge, and he's going to fling the soul anyway just to make sure that it's going to reset. I think, to be honest, whether he liked it or not, that soul was going to get reset. Either way, he or the soul was going to be flying off that ledge at that point in time. But it looks like, once again, the change between Burial Chamber and Tempest Shrine is that it takes a significantly longer amount of time for the soul to actually reset back into that neutral position. So it does give you a lot of time to plan for the attack. Guitaration was able to not only get the quad damage, but then still have time to run back to the fight and still take the soul. I feel like if it appeared earlier, he would have had time to make that input. But again, purposefully going for Obelisk A. They could have gone at the same time for B, but they chose A. This is definitely something that we don't see too often, but TKG, it's working for them. Very, very much so. As they look for the first power-up, they were able to seize control, and they have the first capture too. And that's a nice frag. Thinking Light Tech was going to chase him up through the jump pad, and that Lightning Gun's going to make short work of him. But Guitaration definitely here by himself, as almost the entirety of Netmasters are here trying to stop him. He's going to need some backup soon, and it looks like, yes, it has arrived. Raval getting a couple of gauntlet kills in typical fashion, but without being taken out himself. Guitaration to follow up with a double kill. Getting snuck up on from behind, delays on. Oh no! Messes up the throw, and he just gets knocked back down to the bottom and swiftly dropped off again. And he dies for it. An important fumble, as Legend is able to just easily recapture and start building up the percentage once again. Because the thing is, if he was able to, with the soul, throw it up there off the jump pad and run away, he probably wouldn't have even needed to have taken that fight. But because he dropped the soul, it really forced him to have to manually jump back down there. Lazen had to take the fight. And it wasn't something he could win, and he did not want to be in that situation. I think Legend might have gone for a tactical suicide there to sort of respawn to his Obelisk and get a bit more health. Problem is, 2 of his team died at the same time, so that does mean that 3 of them are gone. This is going to be a good contest, but they actually sees the Obelisk back. Look, he's respawned in time. No, it's Pokelink, in fact, actually here trying to defend, but he's sitting on those healths, and it kept him alive for a significantly larger amount of time, but to a huge amount of use. That was so sneaky, and that was so good as well. The pathing, perfect stuff, as he just sneaks past the entire team of Netmasters with another capture easily done. Quad damage going to be up any second now. Guitaration with a telefrag. No work required. Just get that frag, pick up the quad, and there you go. Happy days. They've got 63% on the second round, and this quad is going to be a headache for Netmasters. A lot of damage coming out of this machine gun, though. We can see one of Netmasters decided to go back down, but died for it anyway. This is looking bad for Netmasters, as TKG looking with a strong 75% lead almost on this round-winning map. Well, map-winning round, I should say. I love the fact that Guitaration cycling around as well. For sure, I mean, but why would you not? He had a decent amount of health. He was pretty much at full speed. If he's got quad damage and they're fresh off the spawn, it's pretty much prime time for him to just pick off those targets, keep them respawning for a few extra seconds, and just let your lead continue to grow. I think it was very smart right there. Some of these area denial rockets doing a lot of damage, stopping him from coming in safely. All one is up at the top, but there's one below him too. There's that teaming up. Back Sorlag, they're coming in. Netmasters trying to get the test as long as they can. Kicks is able to get it, but can he get away safely? He doesn't have the bull rush, won't have it for a while. Yep, he's going to have to resort to a rocket jump to get that speed, but it is going to be sufficient. He just needs to survive for a little bit extra time. Gets the drop off, but not before being melted right there. Can't afford to lose this now, though. They cannot afford to stop this percentage climbing up. They are down 95% to 6, which they've only just been able to get. It was 0 before. They can't afford to lose it at any point. They have to be very careful with the soul being upstairs. I mean, that's not what they need. It's slowing them down. Yeah, Light Tech was so weak. Even a heavy machine gun will seal the deal right there. And they're still holding onto the soul, but ultimately not long enough. And there's the bull rush. Can't get in his way here. That's going to be an easy capture. A few percent left to go. I mean, not even like there was anyone in his way to cause an issue. Oh no, he tries to throw the soul, but it bounces off the position again. That is not the first time we've seen the soul toss fumble and be punished heavily for it. Was that actually, did he get the off-map in time? Looks like he might have done. And now the fight, you know, it's going to be the fight for Ward's power-up first, and then the fight for soul takes place afterwards. Legend with a nice amount of health with the protection. Oh, that's bad though. TKG having protection and being on Sorlag of all people. That is difficult to deal with, as he has plenty of health and is really hitting these rails when it counts. And there we go, the soul is back. Cyrex has it, dropping it through. Plasma Trail will be up in a few seconds. But I mean, 1% more. That's all they need. There's one there to contest. If this frag goes through, it's likely to be game over. Light Tech gets minced into pieces by the gauntlet, and that's enough for the first map. But TKG, we kind of expected them to be dominant. They've been showing us just that so far. And I think it's impressive that they sort of handled Tempest Shrine their own way. You know, they sort of broke away from going, right, we get the soul, let's go straight to Obelisk B. They took it where they wanted it to go. I feel like Scalebear in particular with Pokelink was able to make a couple of good judgment calls, particularly in that first round, dropping off when necessary. And Guitaration in particular, like I feel like he was a real headache with that Anarchy. I think that was actually the biggest thing, though, is the fact that they were favouring A over B, which is something we just do not see on Tempest Shrine. We've said before that other maps in Sacrifice seems to be like, it's evolved to the point that you'll kind of just take whatever obelisk is closer at the time, as to not waste, you know, waste as little time as possible, really, to make sure that you're building percentage as soon as you physically can. But that was the first time we've seen a team actively seek out A, because we've been told that B is seen to be the stronger obelisk because it's easier to defend. Obviously, it's a bit more protected, as it were. There are a lot more options around it. But A looking like a good option there, and it seems like TKG clearly practiced with that obelisk in mind and reaping the rewards as they go a solid map up with, I think, losing any rounds at the time. They lost barely any percent at all. But looks like one of our players has unfortunately had a crash, so we're going to try and get him back in the lobby as soon as we can.
Poor old PokerLink. Poor old PokerLink had a crash, so we've got to get him back in. So he'll be back in due time while we wait for this Blood Covenant. This was a map that Netmasters looked next level dominant on. So I feel like, considering we saw them play so ridiculously well on Blood Covenant beforehand, it'll be interesting to see how they do, where clearly they're going to be up against some stiff competition. And we've just been informed, obviously, the first map being TKG's choice, and they dominantly took it. Great pick for them. I know it kind of went pear-shaped when Netmasters played previously, because if it goes against you with the map you pick and then Netmasters dominate, it's like, okay, well, now we're going on to a map that they chose. What do we do now? And we kind of saw the proof in that, when Blood Covenant, I think, was the choice second time in a row.
But we saw Netmasters go on Blood Covenant before, and it was a really strong showing for them, like supremely one-sided. Now, they're going to need to do something similar now, because that was a strong map for TKG, something they were clearly happy to play on. And Netmasters, just to reiterate, this is losers bracket action. They lose here, and that's it. They're eliminated. And being this close to the grand finals, I mean, we already saw TKG fall in winners, which is why they're here in losers. So knowing that TKG they're going to be looking for that rematch, they're going to want that run back in the finals. But Netmasters knowing that, okay, right, well, we haven't played them in this, on stream yet, so we might still have a chance. I mean, you guys lost, so maybe we need to do it just to try and stand a chance to win, right? But whether or not that'll even happen, we'll find out in a few moments. As we go, looks like PokerLink is back in the lobby and has told us he is ready to go. So we should be getting into the picks very soon.
I feel like the picks are going to be what we expect to see so far. I think that was the same thing before the patch. I think post-patch, it's already starting to show similarities. It's pretty much less Doomslayer, more Scalebearer, less Nyx, more Scalebearer. He's been the flavour of the day for both Duel and Sacrifice, and I think it's no surprise that we're seeing that continue. He's being put to good effect, and I think at the very least people think he's a safe pick, and people aren't really straying away from him. When a map goes skew-if, we're not seeing them go, right, okay, let's go back to what used to work or what we are familiar with. They're pretty much piling into that Scalebearer all or nothing. I know we've talked about him a lot today, but I mean, how can you not when he's been such a prominent force in both of these game modes?
And especially on the map, particularly as well, Blood Covenant, him just being so good at sort of just zipping in that first initial soul spawn, just sort of going in one door, out the other very quickly thanks to Ball Rush. Being able to come out of that teleporter right as the power-up spawns. Like, he's got a lot of use for that Ball Rush that you really can't do much to prepare against. Which really puts a stop to any champion that's kind of just trying to stand on the point as it respawns. You have to be very, very careful, especially considering a lot of the time it's Sorlag ran as well as Scalebearer. So that is a lot of damage to try and make sure you're not standing directly in the way of as it all respawns. But I mean, this could be a few things. This could be the way the meta will eventually shift globally, or it could just be that Scalebearer is very popular in South America, and this patch, this balance patch, has kind of like really shifted the focus towards him 100%. I have to remember he did get mindly adjusted here. Getting that 25 extra armor has been a really big deal for him. So obviously, if you used Scalebearer before, had any kind of knowledge, then obviously you'll be able to put him to better use. Now he's just better. There's no second way of looking at it. Scalebearer is just a stronger character now.
I think on Blood Covenant too, he's going to have the initial edge from the soul appears, or locations where the sort of the go-to method to control a soul or to control a power-up is to use Slash Plasma Trail and to use Scalebearer Acid. Pile them both on at the same time and kind of just create this death zone, which most people can't survive. Now, a Nyx is usually the go-to for, if you time it right, appearing on that and stealing one of those two items. She's likely to die, though. So what you do is you start with a Nyx, you reappear, you steal it, and then you immediately toss the soul, knowing you're going to go down because you can't survive, you can't take it, and then passing it to a teammate. A very popular start that we see very often. Scalebearer, with the massive damage mitigation and the speed of his charge, I think it gives him a very high chance to essentially swoop in and take either of them with minimal damage, particularly if he appears to charge onto protection in that scenario.
Well,
he's taking
it will kill Nyx if she tries to reappear right as it respawns. Obviously, he's going to take less damage thanks to the damage over time in the acid, even less so now thanks to the adjustment in the patch. And considering Slash Plasma Trail also does a lot of damage, it's going to mitigate that too. Because like you said, right, he ticks a lot of boxes for kind of countering that initial exchange, right? That kind of like everyone just piling in to try and get hold of it. Scalebearer does a good job at surviving all of that, as opposed to a lot of other champions.
Our second map begins for the Blood Covenant. We're going to see what the start's going to be. I mean, so frequently in this game mode, it sets the tone. Guitaration just piling into that enemy base with the gauntlet. Actually almost takes out Kicks. There have been 3 clean gauntlets before he got taken out.
There we go, Light Tech dies before he can paint a substantial amount of that plasma trail, so the soul goes towards Cyrex immediately, and he's probably going to get a clean drop-off here. Yes, indeed. Power up, looking up for another 15 seconds. That's actually plenty of time for TKG to get hold of that as well.
But that's always what happens when you get an early drop-off. It allows you and the rest of your team to pretty much make that judgment call. You have the complete freedom to go, right, how and where do we fight for power-up? Because we've already got the advantage of the percentage, and just look at that. They were able to go all hands on deck. One person went to try and steal the soul. We'll find who it was in due time. I believe it was Lazen, but yeah, it was from the saw lag. Thought I recognised the little cutout there. But with that quad damage and the fact that there are so many members of TKG in pursuit.
Still though, they're here ready to shoot him as soon as he comes around the corner, and he is very much by himself, so that was actually really well fought off by Netmasters. I must say networkers, but that's definitely not their name.
That was a good rocket too, and it's pretty much just shut down the threat of the quad damage.
Still though, Pokelink able to get hold of the quad, and there we go, there's that one-man assault. He has plenty of health left to go. Actually killed all 4 of the team by himself. Oh no, misses the bull rush on the soul. That's a big mistake.
Yeah, that would have been the cherry on top, would have been getting that bull rush and then covering a huge amount of distance. Doesn't matter too much at the moment because they are temporarily surviving, but foul. They will sort of steal the soul back. Very much a back and forth display so far. I think a closer display goes to show when you choose the map that you want. It does sort of reap early results at the very least. I know there's still plenty of time for changes to be made, but Netmasters looking a lot more comfortable on Blood Covenant.
Problem is, Rafał just died actually quite close to the enemy obelisk, trying to juke and maybe try and be unpredictable, when it has kind of just given TKG a free soul capture because of it. Tarvation was ready and waiting to take him out. And that's going to be a weak scale barrier, and there we go. Oh, threads the rocket through the terrain.
Through the hole as well. Nice little prediction of the movement. That was a really nice little 3-hit. Rafał just swooping in from behind. TKG have a lead, but it's not significant. You know, that 10% can be very easily undone in Sacrifice.
Saw hasn't been picked up though. Cyrex gets it, but again, quite a clumsy exchange on the point itself. But the important thing is they were able to eventually start capturing it. And there's Netmasters already all here trying to get it back. A lot of them here trying to contest, but they weren't able to actually steal it away in time. They all died for it. Now the protection's going to be up in just a few seconds' time.
The problem is they've died right as power-up is spawning, so it's going to take them a long time to get to actually feel like TKG. Yeah, they've been able to very easily get that protection. They got that group frag at just a magical time where they weren't really able to fight for it, and if they were going to fight for it, they had to pile in with no weapons to pick up, so not really equipped to deal with that fight.
We can see him shooting through. The important thing, TKG getting that protection as well as having it, or well, the soul is currently in motion, but immediately just wiped out as a team. That'll be the danger when you don't decide to contest the power-up at all. Even if you get hold of the soul, you're unlikely to actually safely move it.
Like that nice little bit of optimization on the timer for that protection. Just, you know, if it's going to go out, then Guitaration is just going to jump face first into everyone just to get a few frags before it runs out, keep them further behind. Work out amazingly. He took a lot of damage in the process of that, which kind of allowed them to pick him off. Kicks. Not a lot of people really in pursuit of him, but they are waiting patiently at the point. So now Kicks has to make a decision.
Oh, but he has been discovered already, and we can see he's actually quite low.
Looks like the decision was made for him.
Oh no, but all of his team was there on the point trying to stop him, but Cyrex managing to sneak behind, and he will die before safely capturing it. Taration is here trying to salvage it anyway, but Alazon hold on to the soul. He can go to safely move.
Fumbles his rocket jump slightly, but he was able to get the drop off, so he's going to be happy with that regardless. But how much will they climb? Rockets are such a dangerous force on this point. There's so much
nice
range.
Defense. I mean, there are still plenty of time for them to get it back, but Kicks able to hold on to it again. A lot of rockets coming down here, but full speed up the stairs from below. Pokelink getting a nice frag.
They're taking big damage on the way. Netmasters are doing a decent job of defending for the time being. Is climbing, but you just look at the kill feed. There's plenty of frags going down.
Pokelink has it, throws up. I don't know if he's got any teammates up there ready to catch it.
No, not just yet. I think that's because everyone's piling in. Take a look at the power up. It's starting to respawn.
Also, Guitaration only has a gauntlet right here. Only had a machine gun and a gauntlet. Didn't really have the right equipment, and that's actually going to be a power up going towards Netmaster 2. TKG just haven't got the same level of control right now as they did before.
It just comes down to a level of comfort on the map. Above all else. Just to remind everyone, this was their choice.
That's what you expect to see, but there's that quad damage. Starting shotgun. Oh! Nice double. Huge damage coming through.
what he can now to keep them away with super nails, but it's very weak. Yeah, just before I can even mention it.
Wow, reset the soul, but immediate respawn, and Cyrex is ready and waiting to pick it up straight away. He has kind of consistently been that answer, but dies immediately, gets followed, and can't get it away, and Laser able to hold it.
I feel like they've done a good job so far of those last-minute situations. I was like, right, they're around the corner. If we miss this shot, or if we don't get this frag, they're going to drop it off. That's been denied multiple times now. Poor old Cyrex isn't quite able to get that final little drop-off. And it's been, it actually sort of caused that percentage to not really barely climb. If you just get the drop-off and then die, at least you're going to get like 1 or 2%. Even that's not happening so far, and it's allowing Netmasters to slowly but surely get the lead back.
So Rafał had his gauntlet out again, and a rocket launcher and a shotgun by the end, but decide not to. Pokelink with a very nicely timed bull rush. A lot of distance covered out of that, and that's going to be a nice capture. Rafał held onto that soul for a while, but just couldn't drop it off. But all of Netmaster here again, ready to try and bring it back. Rafał has it again, but he is getting followed. Gets taken out straight away.
That was a nice triple. There we go.
An important time to get all those frags too. Considering the lead and the fact that the power-up still isn't in play currently.
Taken, but I feel like it's been very difficult for TKG to, well, previously in the round, being able to defend it for a while has been something they've
Pokelink
struggled.
is just cleaning up the entire obelisk though. He's currently got 3 kills, that LGN climbing up. Now 85% TKG, they're looking strong. Netmasters, they were able to build some kind of a defense, but it's not really been enough. And there's a protection, there's the fight for it, but a big gauntlet sequence coming out from Kix.
You know, I thoroughly respect the attempt there from Guitaration. I think he figured, if I can just go full in right here and steal the protection, he might have actually been able to, even if he didn't win that fight and get any frags, maybe just get out of there and take the protection away. Because they now have that protection, it's going to be a little bit easier for Netmasters to make some form of assault.
Guitaration was able to get hold of the soul at some point. I'm not quite sure where, but the power-up was being held by Kix, but it wasn't enough.
I don't think it's because Kix wasn't actually near the soul itself. You know, he had a good job of being in a situation where he maybe could have taken a fight, but he wasn't at the fight, which allowed Guitaration to just swoop in and steal it back. Light Tech's going to try and get out, but with that health, he's on borrowed time.
Oh,
Legend with a clean triple kill. Very nice indeed.
Makes
TKG.
that a quad kill.
Look at the fact, 1 more percent, and they're going to take this. They've dropped it off. There's no one nearby, and because of that quad kill, no one is going to be able to stop this push. They get here, but it's too little too late. TKG on match point in this losers finals.
Legend looking good after that. That was huge for him. Managing to get hold of all 4 of them dead. Big deal for that. I mean, but that's the kind of moment we see a lot, really, is that kind of entire team wipe, right? That huge play to just get rid of all 4 of them at the same time. And with respawn times being as short as they are, being able to take out literally all 4 of them gone.
Well, if they can get that run back versus Team ZR, they will be more than happy. But they have got 1 more round to do. I'll be quite happy, actually, to see if TKG can make it into Grand Finals, in the sense that I think the run back will be important to see. If they can ride all of this momentum, if they can keep it going, you know, their hands, their mouse, keyboard still warm off the losers finals. I wonder if that will have some sort of an edge, but
maybe.
You know,
I mean, it's the best kind of way to go into Grand Finals from losers side, absolutely, but obviously having to do twice the work. But looks like they are happy to try and get that second
Here we go
shot.
again.
They have a demanding lead and 5 seconds away from quad damage. 1 member of Netmasters already there, ready, but he is outnumbered and put in a corner. And Guitaration is able to just swoop in and take that quad damage for himself. This is a bad start for Netmasters.
We've seen time and time again what happens. You get an early drop-off and then you take the soul and you pretty much get a whole bunch of uncontested percentage because of that quad or because of that protection. Likely to be guaranteed 30 at the very least. And that's normally how it works out. So Netmasters having a chunky deficit in such a short amount of time. They're match point down. They're on the loser's side. This is a lot of pressure, and they have to rise to this occasion as a group. But just look at it. They're not winning any of these fights. TKG are getting frag after frag. Legend cleans up another one. I don't think a single frag has gone in Netmasters' favor so far. This is a terrible result.
There you go. Kix managing to get one himself, but that plasma trail pop to just deny that way in. Immediately done, but again, outnumbered from above. Kix falls straight away, and Kix has been one of the kind of saving graces in terms of frags at the moment, but Rafał manages to steal the soul, but just gets pinned into a corner, has nowhere to run, can't find a safe place to throw the soul, and gets taken out straight away again.
Yeah, I think if he was going to go down there pretty much was no good place to throw the soul in that situation. Regardless of what happened, they were going to pick it up, and they were going to drop it. Lazon tries to defend. Even if he goes down, he's been able to waste a little bit of time with that soul toss, but with very minimal teammates nearby to pick up. Light Tech is there, but he's very, very weak. And because of that. PokerLink to pick up, gets those 2 healths, actually passes the soul back to Alazon. Yeah, that definitely was not intentional. Wrong place, wrong time.
Oh, Guitar Ratio managing to sneak through the entire thing with a gauntlet out, though 50% in climbing. This is match point for them. If TKG win this, they go to grand finals, and they are not looking at all challenged in this final round. That was such a potential back and forth first round, but this could not be any further from that.
It's just like that. We have 65%. It's going to be climbing. I reckon if this continues, we're going to have at least one more power-up.
Netmasters cannot let TKG get it. Like, it's going to be protection. It's going to spawn before the end of the round. If Netmasters lose it, they will lose the round alongside it. Once again, we have just by himself, Rafał trying to defend it, but just is not able to just defend against the outnumbered side.
So here is the major decision. Netmaster decided to, they knew they were going to pile in towards the power-up. They tried to use the lack of numbers to sort of sneak in there and take the soul away. I definitely respect the attempt, but because the protection went in the hands of Legend, he was able to pretty much just swoop in there and contest, take it back. Guitar gets another gauntlet kill, taking the protection away. This just became very hard.
And now he's just running around with the gauntlet protected. I mean, what do you do? Look at the speed. He's just running out with a gauntlet out, and you will die if you get in his way. But they were able to seize the soul at the very end of that killing spree.
Even though he was going on a killing spree, he kind of remained to be by himself. So they did get a couple of good frags before that point. Wasn't quite able to get away. Guitar Ratio still with the pickup, not even dropped off. Netmasters unable to obtain a single percent yet.
He has taken a lot of damage, but gets a couple of small healths on the way. Are they close enough to stop him? Oh, doubling back, picks up the mega health. Perfectly played by Guitar Ratio.
That one little maneuver to just dodge that right there.
No way, he's getting a 2v1. No way. Oh, maybe not quite a 2v1. Teammate popped up right near the end, but this is looking like GG so far, unless it looks like TKG, a lot of their team is low, but they are still winning these fights.
Swiftly undone by an injection, though. And you can tell why. You can tell why Guitar Ratio qualified for the duel, can't you? I mean, he literally collected head after head. This frag's going to go down as well. So many members follow in rapid succession. Netmasters eliminated for the tournament, but TKG moving on into grand finals on the loser's side, where they will get that run back versus Team ZR. This just got very interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how the run back goes. I think there's many kind of sweeping statements to be said here, right? Of, you know, it's kind of up and down. Winner side means you haven't been playing for a while, but it means you are still going in with the less work to do, and that's your reward for being there, right? Is you haven't lost a game, so you have less work to do. Going in from loser side means that you're warmed up, you're ready to play, because you've literally just finished playing on the way there, but obviously being there from losers bracket, especially considering that TKG were actually sent to losers by Team ZR. We know ZR are going to be confident knowing that all they have to do is do what they've already done again.
I've actually, right before we went back into our lobby, got a little bit of a sight on the end game statistics. TKG pretty much getting double the frags that Netmasters did across the board. And I think a lot of those frags must have come from that final round too, because in that final round, Netmasters pretty much head-to-head, they just lost frag after frag. Many of those fights did not go in their favor. When the 1v1 happened, they would lose the 1v1. When the group fight happened, they would lose the group fight.
Especially
and it just went
that
back to
last
worse.
round looked like, I suppose, the epitome of that, where it looked like they had given all they had to give, and that final round was just they had nothing left. You know, they spent everything they had to go, and unfortunately they are going to be eliminated at the final stages of this tournament. But that is not where tonight ends. We have our grand finals ready to go, and I'm excited to see how that goes.
So TKG going up against Team ZR, our final match of the day, and because only one team's going to qualify for Dreamhack Winter, this just became very important indeed. We're going to get our grand finals underway. We're going to go for a quick break. Don't go anywhere.